Hello, my name is John, and today we'll be reading Mythologies of Illegal Immigration by Victor Davis Hanson on American Greatness, January 21st, 2018. Victor Davis Hanson is an American military historian, columnist, former classics professor, and scholar of ancient warfare. He was a professor of classics at California State University, Fresno, and is currently the Martin and Illie Anderson Senior Fellow at Stanford University's Hoover Institution. He has been a visiting professor at Hillsdale College since 2004. The illegal immigration debate has come to a head once again. Congress remains at an impasse over a temporary spending bill that Senate Democrats refuse to support unless it includes a provision that would allow several 100,000 illegal aliens to remain in the United States without fear of deportation. It's a tiresome ploy by the Democrats, abetted by their allies in the media, using deceptive language to paint a false picture that blurs the distinction between legal and illegal, citizen and foreigner, justice and injustice. Enough obfuscation. Here are some of the most pernicious myths of illegal immigration debunked. The system is broken. Broken for whom exactly? Not for Mexico and Latin America. Together they garner $50 billion in annual remittances. The majority of such transfers are likely sent from illegal aliens. Some of that largesse is also subsidized by the entitlements American taxpayers pay that free up this disposable cash for sending abroad. In the eyes of Mexico and Latin America, the only thing that would make our system appear broken would be enforcing existing U.S. immigration law. Or perhaps broken would be defined as novel ways of paying for Trump's wall, by either taxing remittances or so discouraging illegal immigration that a reduction of dollar outflows could be counted, at least rhetorically, as down payments on border construction. The immigration system is clearly not broken for the Democratic Party and has turned California blue. It soon will do the same to Colorado, Nevada, and New Mexico, and someday may flip Arizona and Texas. If the statist, redistributionist, and identity politics principles of the Democrats no longer appeal to 51% of the electorate, then why would they give up on the annual investment in nearly hundreds of thousands of new arrivals that by some means, and in the not-too-distant future, would translate into loyal, politically predictable voters for whom this approach to politics is second nature? Employers believe the system is anything but broken. Any good news for the country about skyrocketing minority employment numbers is likely to be bad news for them if it means declining numbers of cheaper, illegal aliens to hire. Open borders have ensured the hiring of industrious workers at cheap wages while passing on the accruing health, educational, legal, and criminal justice costs to the taxpayer. The present system is working well enough for this crowd. Its possible replacement instead would be defined as broken. Ethnic tribunes supporting illegal immigration. If the border were closed and the melting pot allowed to work, the facade of identity politics would vanish in a generation. Recently added accents would be dropped. Hyphenated names would disappear. Trilled R's would become rare. La Raza/Chicano/Latino studies programs would become about as popular as Basque or Portuguese. If immigrants from Mexico came in measured numbers legally, with high school diplomas, and along with diverse immigrants from all over the world, then rapid assimilation and integration would soon render them politically individuals, not tribes. Someone like California Senate leader Kevin D. Leon, born Kevin Alexander Leon, would never have needed a preposition and an accent mark. Broken? Most likely most welcome. Illegal aliens, of course, believe the present system is working well, at least compared to the possible alternatives. Legal applicants, still faithfully believing in a now non-existent system, wait in line. Those south of the border simply cross. The moment Mexican citizens, unlike Poles, Australians, or Koreans, reach American soil, they or their children, in theory, will become categorized as minority eligible for government affirmative action and preferred hiring. It is as if Los Angeles or Reno had something to do with the centuries-long racial oppression by an ethnically Spanish legacy elite 500 miles south of the border. American elites welcome illegal immigration, both for the cheap labor and for the opportunity to virtue signal their magnanimity, perhaps as much as they seem rarely to live adjacent to the barrio or keep their children in schools that are impacted by immigrants, and or shop where English is rarely spoken. In sum, the system is working for everyone. It is broken only for the naifs who worry over the long-term consequences of rendering the law null and void, and of ceding our culture to arriving populations, for the most part not yet accustomed to the habits that sustain personal and political freedom. But the dreamers. There are 700,000 to 800,000 DACA recipients, though no one knows the exact numbers, nor is there a clear definition of who constitutes the population of dreamers, other than arriving in the United States illegally as a minor. It is an ossified concept, one frozen in amber, given that the average age of a so-called dreamer, around 25. When a dreamer reaches 40, is he still defined as a dreamer, or have his dreams already come true? Naturally, minors should not be penalized for the transgressions of their parents, but a large percent of the DACA cohort is now 6 or more years into adulthood. Yet upon turning 18, apparently, most have made little effort to obtain either green cards or citizenship. College graduation and military service are often referenced as DACA talking points. In truth, some studies suggest just 1 in 20 dreamers graduated from college. 1 in 1,000 has served in the military. So far, about 8 times more dreamers have not graduated from high school than have graduated from college. Dreamers represent less than 10% of all illegal aliens residing in the United States. They are also a fraction of the ignored millions of foreign students from all over the world who seek, often in vain, to study in the United States, or are skilled applicants for green cards. Such depressing statistics about DACA might not matter if supporters of open borders did not always cite incomplete or misleading data. Weaponizing the language. Most of the vocabulary surrounding illegal immigration is both politicized and weaponized, as we have seen with dreamers. Illegal immigration is conflated with legal immigration in order to smear critics with charges of biases against the other, rather than of simply expressing concerns over legality and sovereignty. By progressive prepping of the linguistic battlefield, some conservatives feel a continued need to prove they are not racist by granting more and more exemptions from immigration laws. Sanctuary cities are not sanctuaries in the manner we think of a cathedral in a Victor Hugo novel. They are nullification centers where foreign nationals who have broken laws are not subject to full enforcement of immigration laws, due entirely to political considerations. Sanctuary city is not an abstract philosophical term. None of the current sanctuary cities would agree in principle with other jurisdictions in similar fashion, nullifying federal laws that advance left-wing policy objectives. The sobriquet is a euphemism for 1850-style proto-Confederate states' rights chauvinism, dressed up similarly in pseudo-moralistic terms. Undocumented immigrant suggests that the problem is a matter of forgetting to bring legal documents rather than a decision to ignore the need for legal authorization. To become undocumented, one might first have to become documented. Yet almost no illegal aliens were ever registered as immigrant applicants. Undocumented replaced the adjective illegal, just as immigrant, and increasingly just migrant, superseded the noun alien. That is, when the Democratic Party realized that swelling Latino populations began to vote en masse and could salvage what its failing message could not. At that point, around 2010 or so, the old Democratic and progressive admonitions about illegal immigration cutting the wages of the poor, impeding unionization, and siphoning away social welfare entitlements from the citizen poor were finally and completely jettisoned, along with the language once used by Jimmy Carter and the Clintons. Euphemisms replaced descriptive vocabulary in efforts to construct a new reality. Diversity is often associated with illegal immigration. In fact, the majority of illegal immigrants come from Latin America and Mexico. They are hardly diverse. Real diversity would be recalibrating immigration to be legal, merit-based, and aimed at roughly equal representation from Latin America, Asia, Africa, and Europe, and thus politically unpredictable. Political epithets, racism, and xenophobia. The cargo of illiberal accusations is likewise constructed. Given the United States is the most pro-Latino country in the world, Mexico included, half of all immigrants, both legal and illegal, come either from Mexico or Latin America, a sort of inverse racism that assumes illegal Spanish-speaking immigrants are intrinsically more deserving of U.S. residence than legal immigration applicants from Uganda, South Korea, or Ukraine. The Constitution of Mexico carefully delineates all sorts of offices that are not open to naturalized citizens. It lists a variety of immigration offenses that result in automatic deportation or imprisonment. The constant theme being Mexico wants skilled immigrants who can help Mexico, consistent with its constitutional prohibitions against any immigration that might adversely affect the equilibrium of the national demographics. What is also not diverse is Mexico and Latin America. The vast majorities of the population there share roughly similar ethnic heritage and a common language and religion. Small numbers of minorities such as blacks are treated as second-class citizens. Strange, too, are the outward theatrics and themes of illegal alien activism, the most frequent waving of Mexican flags, the often loud criticism of a generous host country, the usual demands made upon a foreign nation, mysteriously coupled with the overwhelming desire of millions to enter or remain in the supposedly demonic United States, waving a flag of a country that one does not wish to return to, while shunning the flag of a country in which one very much wishes to reside, is incoherent. What is humane and progressive is defining people by the content of their character rather than by the superficial appearance of ethnic affinities, a notion contrary to engine of identity politics. Finally, many ethnic activists are accepting that reality. Why otherwise would the National Council of La Raza belatedly at last drop the nomenclature of the race shortly after the 2016 election to become Unidos US, US United? Is America great or not? The entire image of the United States has been smeared in most discussions of illegal immigration. The thrust of ethnic studies departments, the narratives of open border activists, the pageantry and symbolism of mass immigration demonstrations, and the chauvinism embedded into popular culture is mostly couched in implicit anti-Americanism. At least we are led to believe that a culpable America has done wrong in the present and the past, and has to restore its morality by allowing open borders and illegal immigration. But who are the arbiters of American ethics? Vicente Fox? MS-13 gangbangers? Those whose first act in entering America was to break its laws? Millions are fleeing paradigms that they apparently judged as wanting, either politically, economically, or socially, or all that and more. Why then would foreign nationals have ceased romanticizing their new generous hosts upon their arrival and begun idolizing instead their rejected birthplace? And if these are their true feelings on the matter, why did they leave? Second, there rarely is expressed any formal analysis of why one wishes to enter the United States and leaves one's home country. What then exactly makes a naturally rich Mexico rather poor and naturally poor New Mexico rather rich? Why is Venezuela a mess and Colorado is not? Has anyone prohibited Mexico from reformatting its constitution to ensure an independent judiciary, the rule of law, a free market economy, the protection and free sale of private property, a Bill of Rights, unfettered free speech, a meritocratic civil service, transparency in law enforcement, and an ethnically blind culture? The question is not just mindless American boosterism. In the past, immigrants accepted that they had left Ireland, Italy, or Poland because habits, customs, and government in their home countries were deemed wanting and unworkable, and therefore it was necessary to embrace their antithesis in the United States. It would have made no sense to flee from Italy and expect to live life in America on the premises that an Italian lived in Italy. Immigration, again, brutally or not, is a complex two-step hard bargain that succeeds only when one accepts his chosen country and de facto rejects the collective protocols of his birthplace. Why do these mythologies abound? Largely because Americans, the host, either cannot anymore even define their own civilization to would-be immigrants, are so intimidated that they are terrified to even try. This video is a production of the School of the White Crane. My name is John Brooker, and you can communicate with me through commentary on this video or through my Gmail listed here. Please share this video with family and friends and on social media. May God richly bless you.